Despite a landslide majority, it is really, really not going very well for Keir Starmer, because today he has woken up to the distressing news that he is the worst Prime Minister in modern history after only 5 months. We've had this very damning poll come out from Ipsos. Let's take a look at this, and let's also have a discussion about whether we are getting into the territory with these approval ratings for Keir Starmer, where they could be so bad that his cabinet ends up starting resignations and starting to turn the tables against him. Let's talk about it all. So let's have a look at what the polling said. So we had 61% of people saying that they are dissatisfied with the Prime Minister's track record. He's barely been in office for a minute, and people are very, very angry about what he is doing to this country. Meanwhile, only 27% of people are satisfied. So you do the maths there, 27 minus 61, and that is how you get that minus 34 net satisfaction rating, which is just pretty atrocious. That is getting close to the kind of negative rating that you see when people are about to be turfed out of office. It's not often that you see a rating that poor this early on in the game. Now, let's have a look at how other prime ministers fared against him. So, this, let's just clarify, we're talking about he is the worst Prime Minister in modern history after 5 months. Not the worst Prime Minister in history full stop. There have been plenty of other Prime Ministers who have ended on a worse approval rating than he is currently on, and we're going to look at those numbers as well, so stay watching for that. But we are talking about what the approval rating of various different Prime Ministers has been after 5 months in office. So Gordon Brown, minus 23. You thought he was unpopular? Well, Keir Starmer is a heck of a lot lower with minus 34. Rishi Sunak, minus 22. You think that's bad? Keir Starmer, minus 34. Rishi Sunak and Gordon Brown seem massively popular in comparison. Tony Blair did very well, plus 57, and John Major, plus 33. Looks like those guys probably can teach Keir Starmer a thing or two about popularity, because Keir Starmer doesn't seem to know how to make people like him at all. Now, as I said, this is about people's approval ratings after 5 months. But what is it like if we look at the whole tenure? Well, if we look at the Spectator data graph, you will see the approval ratings of everyone from Blair onwards on this graph. And you can see, so first of all, there's the trend that once you fall, you're unlikely to rebound. Okay, we've had a few. You can see David Cameron, he went into the negative and he did redeem himself there. And obviously you have up and down with all of them. But on the whole, you can see the graphs, they've got this, that my eCam is backwards compared to you guys. They've got this downwards slant, and where once you go down, that's it. You ain't coming back, okay? So if you think Keir Starmer is going to be able to turn it all around and suddenly get back into positive approval ratings, just look at what happened in the past, okay? I'm not saying that the past perfectly predicts the future, but it very often does, okay? So Keir Starmer, you can see that red line there at the end. It's a very sharp drop in a very short amount of time. And you see before Sunak, you see another very sharp drop for Liz Truss. So you can see that he's still more popular now than Liz Truss was when she left office after those 49 days. You can see that Rishi Sunak was lower. You know, these guys are all past that minus 40 mark. Theresa May also below that minus 40 mark. David Cameron close to it. Blair and Brown, they dipped into below the minus 40s but ended above that. You can see that Keir Starmer is now in a worse position than both Blair and Brown were when they left office. But compared to the Tories, he is still just about ahead. But you can see the way it is going, okay? And you saw what happens when you've seen Liz Truss, Boris Johnson, etc. When they get very, very unpopular, what happens? You, even if they say, I'm not leaving, I'm going to stick to it, I want to serve my country, blah, 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 blah. The herd moves, and the herd moves fast against them. You start seeing resignations, you start seeing other people who fancy a go at the top job, you know, all scheming together to topple them, and it all ends very, very badly. Are we getting to that position? Well, I don't think it's going to happen just yet, but I think that if things keep going the way it's going and Keir Starmer gets into that minus 40 and below territory, I think you could see a Labour leadership election happening, possibly even within the next year. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if Keir Starmer is somebody who only lasts 1 or 2 years as Prime Minister. Do I want that to happen? Probably not, because I don't really want David Lammy, God, can you imagine David Lammy, to be our Prime Minister, or Rachel Reeves. I mean, she was in charge of that god-awful budget, which we are going to talk about, which is very much partly responsible for this appalling approval rating. Do you want Angela Rayner as your Prime Minister? I don't think so. Absolutely no way. And the membership would probably vote for her because she's actually quite popular amongst the Labour members. So I'm not wishing for this, I'm just making predictions. Okay, now Keir Starmer, he's probably confused. Why does everybody hate me? Why do I have this awful approval rating? Well, Keir Starmer, if you don't understand and you need someone to tell you where you went wrong, don't worry, darling, I am here and I will walk you through it. Why is Keir Starmer so unpopular? Well, he has allowed our pensioners to freeze this winter to save a little bit of money. So he wants to save about 1.5 billion with this winter fuel payment cut. Meanwhile, we spend nearly 6 billion a year on asylum seekers. Okay, just to put that into perspective for you. Okay, even if we just reduced the amount that we spend on asylum seekers by somewhere between a quarter and a third, we would not have to cut that winter fuel payment. It's going to cause a heck of a lot of suffering. And clearly, the fact that this song has gone so viral just shows how upset people are about it. That's why his approval rating is absolutely plummeting. Here's the song. We won't play the whole thing, but we'll play you a little snippet.
Try to imagine a house that's full of cold. Try to imagine being 80 years old. That's where I'll be since Keir left me. I wish tears could heat my home. What can I do without fuel? I've got no place to go. It'll be freezing this Christmas without fuel at home.
There we go. You could listen to the whole thing on Spotify or wherever you get your music. It is absolutely up there, top of the charts, that song, because people are angry. They are absolutely fuming that we are throwing our pensioners under the bus. He thought that he could get away with it because he's like, oh, those guys don't normally vote Labour, they normally vote Tory, so we can just do whatever the hell we want with them. No, that wasn't going to work, and the approval ratings show it. Why else is Keir Starmer absolutely failing and is now an extremely, extremely unpopular Prime Minister? Well, maybe it's because when we had the Southport riots, rather than addressing the fact that there are genuine concerns in this country about immigration, and maybe the fact that there are riots are because people have tried to solve this problem at the ballot box and voted for change over and over again and nobody has delivered it. Maybe he could have addressed those grievances, but instead he called everyone far-right thugs, and anyone who dared to post about those grievances on Facebook, well, sadly, a lot of them got chucked in prison. And then he has the audacity to stand up and say that the law is applied equally and try to reassure us about that. This is what he said back in summer, and this did not help his approval ratings.
So no, I won't shy away from calling it what it is. Far-right thuggery. To those who feel targeted because of the colour of your skin or your faith, I know how frightening this must be. I want you to know that this violent mob do not represent our country, and we will bring them to justice. Our police deserve our support as they tackle any and all violent disorder that flares up. Whatever the apparent cause or motivation, we make no distinction. Crime is crime, and this government will tackle it.
There we go. Crime is crime, and this government will tackle it, right? Any kind of crime, we're going to tackle it equally. Well, you were able to set up these 24-hour courts to get all the rioters put in prison in less than 24 hours, as quick as possible. Speedy, you bang them all up. What about Manchester Airport? Those guys who beat up a female police officer, attacked police officers, broken nose, you saw the video, punch, horrible. Have they been sentenced yet? Have they been charged yet? Oh wait, no, the CPS still haven't bothered to do anything about it. They're completely sitting on it. The Reform Party have had to come in and bring in private investigators to deal with the situation because our justice system will not deal with it, okay? And then you've got the audacity to stand up there, Keir Starmer, and just try and gaslight us and tell us, oh, we apply the law equally, crime is crime, we always apply the law equally, everyone will be brought to justice. No, it's a load of rubbish. And then, obviously, the far-right fucks comment there, okay? Completely dismissing the grievances that exist in this country. I'm not advocating rioting, but at least have a fair analysis of why it happened. People have voted time and time again for controls on both legal and illegal migration, and the government completely fails to do anything about it. So a lot of people felt like that was their last option. Again, I don't advocate it, but I understand, unlike Keir Starmer, why it happened. You just stand up there and say you're far-right thugs and you're just targeting people because of the colour of the skin. Not anything to do with the fact that you can't get an NHS appointment, you can't get a house and all the rest of it, because we have nearly 1 million people coming in this country every single year. Okay, why else is Keir Starmer so unpopular? Well, he's pissed off all the farmers as well. Again, another stupid scheme, just like how the winter fuel payment cut will barely save any money. This tax on farmers, it's not actually going to raise that much money. In fact, I saw an article coming out today saying that it's actually going to lose money after you account. I presume that's after you account for the loss to the economy, after the farm shut down and whatnot. Okay, so it was actually losing money. This is just moral posturing and just not a very well thought through policy. And you've had huge protests. You've got a picture of one here on screen in London, yet they don't do anything to address their concerns. Even the day after the farmers' protest at PMQs, Angela Rayner was standing in because Keir Starmer was away on one of his jollies abroad, as he seems to always be at the moment, just escaping the Brits that don't like him. And she was asked by Lee Anderson about the farmers. The day after that huge protest happened right in Whitehall, right outside where she was working, and she just didn't even acknowledge their struggles at all. She's like, oh no, we support the farmers, we always have done and we always will, don't be silly. Absolutely, they're just so out of touch. They don't even acknowledge that the pensioners and the farmers will go through any pain as a consequence of these policies. It's so disingenuous, everyone can see right through it. Now, of course, speaking of the farmers' tax, we of course had the budget. Just as a whole, this is another huge reason why Keir Starmer's approval ratings have plummeted to -34 after just 4 months. Okay, Rachel Reeves, she did this budget for growth. What growth? What growth are you going to see from a budget that raises taxes by 40 billion quid? Everyone who is a wealth creator, everyone that has money, everyone that's got a big business, guess what? They're all leaving the country, okay? This is not going to grow the economy. Everyone's just buggering off elsewhere because they're fed up of the ridiculously high taxes in this country. You're not going to attract foreign investors. They're going to go somewhere else with lower taxes. But this woman, Miss, used to be an economist, but actually just, worked in retail banking at Halifax. She doesn't know anything. She can't do basic maths at all, okay? And last but not least, Lord Ali, okay? This just completely took the piss out of the British public, okay? These are the people who said we need an end to cronyism. We need an end to revolving doors between politicians and the businessmen and the donors. We have to make it stop. And then as soon as they're in power, they're taking all of this cash. All of this cash, all of these freebies, all this money, all these free glasses, free clothes, free Taylor Swift tickets, free flats in New York to stay in. Okay, we've got a great graphic here summarising just how much money this one man, Lord Ali, was spending to buy influence over Number 10. 155 grand worth of stuff to Keir Starmer. I think that figure has now been revised and is now even higher. David Lammy, 32 grand. Angela Rayner, 72 grand. Bridget Phillipson, 14 grand. Liz Kendall, 15 grand. Wes Streeting, 14 grand. Ed Miliband, 10 grand. If that is not cronyism, I don't know what is. They've shown themselves to be total and utter hypocrites, and the British public have had enough. I'm telling you now, this Labour Party will not last past 2029. They will not be in office again for the foreseeable future. They have messed it up worse than you can possibly imagine. Anyway, I am Chloe Dobbs. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I'll see you all soon.
Still watching? Well, I've got a quick ask for you. Recent UK, we're fighting the woke brigade and inspiring young Brits, but we need your help to go bigger. We're hosting a fundraiser and would love you to sign up and share the link on the big day. It's easy, it makes a massive impact, and there are prizes for top fundraisers. Click the Google form in the description to join us. Cheers very much. Let's keep going together.